up everybody, it is Maddie here and I've got a very exciting video for you if you're into traveling and you are of the ages from 18 to 28 years old. If you clicked on this video, chances are you're very interested in traveling with EF college break. I, just like you might be right now, was very curious and had lots of questions regarding how the trips worked, if they were trustworthy, if it was worth the money. So I decided I would put together a video for you kind of with my tips, reviews, and all that good stuff. So for the first portion of this video, I'm going to be kind of doing a review, and then I'll be giving some tips if you do decide to travel with EF a little bit later. And just to clarify, I am in no way affiliated with EF. They have not asked me to do a review. I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart because it's mostly good stuff. I've been on 2 EF trips. I went last January and earlier this month. I just got back from my trip actually a couple days ago. For my first trip I went to Germany, Italy, and Switzerland, and for my second trip I went to London, Paris, and Rome. Both of these trips are still available as I'm filming, I believe, and they were both incredible. As far as I'm concerned, everything was planned beautifully. We went to so many things, we got to see so many places. The tour directors were really awesome and worked well with everybody. There were a couple things I didn't love, but it was mostly personal things or people. Now if you're like me, you're probably wondering, is it worth the money? Yes. I personally think it is 100% worth the money because they book your flights, your hotels, they do some meals, they book all of your excursions. I think it is totally worth every penny. Because honestly, I'm kind of lazy and wouldn't be able to plan all these things out by myself, and because they've been doing it for so long, they know what people want to see, what are the better excursions to do, and they have awesome tour directors who can help you see other things and give you options to do during your free time. And the big question you're probably asking yourself if you are thinking about booking with EF is it trustworthy? Are they just gonna take $3,000 from me? Am I gonna get to Europe and be kidnapped? No, it is 100% trustworthy if you are booking directly through EF college break. Alright, now let's talk about hotels, hostels, and flights. My first trip, I think we stayed at 4 hotels, and only one of them was really iffy. I'm glad we only stayed there one night. I can't remember where it was. On my second trip, we had 3 hotels, and only one of them I didn't love, and that was because it was a hostel and our window was broken, so it was open, and I'm pretty sure I got like pneumonia sitting there. That, and they did not provide soap or towels, which is and I'm going to talk more about this in my tips section of the video, so if you want to know more about that, keep watching. The areas we stayed in were very, I feel like, centrally located. Like there was a lot around them, a lot of restaurants, there were ATMs. As far as flights go, I thought they were really great. I flew with Delta every time except for once. You fly economy, which is fine, but if you are flying Delta or any other company with an app, you can get their app or log in on your computer and check in early and pick your own seat. And personally, I upgraded my seats, so I had a little extra leg room on that 9-hour flight. On the website, it talks about traveling solo a lot, which is very intimidating. It's kind of a scary thing to think about, going to another country by yourself. But everything they say on their website about traveling solo is 100% true. I traveled solo on both my trips and I had so much fun and I made so many friends. It's scary to be by yourself and to think that you might not make friends with anybody and you might not have friends, but trust me, almost everybody else there is traveling solo, so you find things to like about each other. Everybody's just there and you're only there from 11 days. Sometimes, there are some bigger trips like 30 days, but you're stuck with these people, so you want to be friends with them. Everybody kind of just wants to be friends. Anyway, like I said, as far as the review goes, I think most of the things that I didn't love about the trip were because of other people. My tour director on my first trip was good. He did his job and he did fine at it, but he was nothing compared to my second tour director. My second tour director was incredible. And my only other kind of thing that kind of put it down a little bit was on my first trip there were so many people. On my first trip I had about 35 people. My second trip I think we had 16 people, which was so much fun. I got to get to know everybody. That was my review portion of this video. I don't really know if that was a good review. I don't know. I hope it helps you in some kind of way. Alright, great. So I've convinced you to travel, or somebody else has, or the Facebook ads have convinced you to travel with them. Whatever it may be, I have some tips for you. As I sort of mentioned earlier, if you go during a holiday or break time like spring break or New Year's Eve, you are going to have a large group. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's more people to make friends with. That's more options of people to hang out with. Personally, I liked having my smaller group compared to my larger group. We looked less touristy. Whether you have 10 people or 30 people in your group, you're gonna look like a tourist group, which is fine. It's just a little easier to maneuver 15 people compared to 30 people. Alright, my second tip is regarding money. I know you've already spent a lot of money on this trip, but saving up a lot of spending money is super important, nice, convenient. It's convenient. On both my trips, I saved a little over $1,500 to spend. I know that sounds like a lot. They recommend $80 to $100 a day, so that's well over what is recommended. But I didn't want to be stuck in a foreign country without money. And from both of my trips, I came home with $800 left. Like, I didn't even spend nearly close to all of the money, but it was nice to have in case I saw something fun that I wanted to buy. Speaking of money, here's a fun tip. Always have cash on you. When you first land in the airport, there are going to be ATMs pretty much everywhere. Use them. Get $100 out. If you can figure out how, try to get it in smaller portions instead of like 100, 250. Try to get like 520s or something. In Europe, I don't know about other places, but in Europe, a lot of restaurants will not split the bill. So you have to put in your money along with everybody else's money. And it really sucks being caught with no cash, just your card, when everyone else is paying with their cash. So always try to have cash. And some places, some restaurants and gift shops don't take cards unless you spend over a minimum amount of money, which sometimes is $5. And if you're just getting like a drink, which is only $3, they won't take your card. All right, next tip. Before your trip, look at your itinerary. Look at that thing they give you that says what you are gonna do. Anytime there's free time, look at the suggestions they give you and Google top things to do in blank, wherever you're going, and make a list of things you want to do. Know that you probably won't have time to do everything you want to do, but having a list of things to do during your free time can really save you. It's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. Okay, my next tip. This one's super personal and fresh in my brain. Okay, when you book this trip, I need you to know, especially if you're going solo, you will have roommates. There's a slight chance you won't like your roommates. I say slight because most people on these trips are very excited, very happy, and very sociable people. So if you are a light sleeper for the love of everything good, book a single room. It costs, I think, about $300 or $400 extra. But if you are gonna complain about your roommates the entire trip, because if you're a light sleeper and you get no sleep because your roommates are snoring or sleepwalking or sleep talking, you're not gonna get a lot of sleep. You wake up at the crack of dawn every day and you go to bed very late at night every day. So chances are you're not going to get a lot of sleep on your trip anyway. Wrapping up those feelings. Okay, this is my next tip, and it is, again, speaking from experience from a trip. Just remember that you are not in America anymore. In other countries, they do things differently. Some things are the same, but a lot of things are different. And that is probably the coolest thing about traveling, other than the history of where you're going. It's just seeing the different cultures and what they do and how they work. Remember that you're not in America. Remember that things are different where you are. Remember that you are now the outsider. You are now the foreigner. You are now the tourist. You're not in your bubble anymore. So when you're speaking to somebody who is trying very hard to speak English to you, it is obviously their second language. Do not use long, complicated English words. So before your trip, I definitely recommend looking up where you're going and looking up customs and things to be aware of when you're traveling there. And don't be afraid because of that. Don't feel like you can't do anything. Just be aware of it. Still have fun, still enjoy your trip. Just be aware of where you are and how you're coming off to people. All right, this is my last tip, and It's an important one. It's probably the most important tip I'll give you today. After you book your trip, you're gonna get emails, and there's gonna be a Facebook page where you're gonna get lots of tips and helpful hints and stuff. Actually go through and read these emails, read these tips, because oh my gosh, there are some things I wish I would have paid more attention to on my trips, and they were in emails that I got sent. Like I mentioned earlier, you might be staying at a hostel where they don't provide towels or soap. So if they tell you you're staying in a hostel, don't jump to the conclusion that you won't get any amenities, because in my second hostel we stayed in, we actually did get towels and soap, and it was fully provided. What you should do is go online and Google that hostel and see what other people have said are provided, or look and see. But other than that, you guys, that is all I have. My review and my tips for you if you do decide to travel with EF College Break. I think it's a really worthwhile experience, especially if it's your first time traveling abroad and by yourself. I think it's an incredible experience and opportunity. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions about EF down below. I don't have all the answers, but I do have a lot of them, and I would love to help you guys out if you are thinking about traveling. No, wait, you don't have to be in college to travel with them. Keep that in mind. And like the video if you found this helpful at all, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this every single Saturday. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
If you love me, let me